Okay, at the start of the game, the first thing that players need to do to set it up is determine who's going to go first. This is done by rolling the two black dice. The player who rolls highest gets to go first. If this is me, let's just say it is for this example, I get to randomly select my player card before anybody else does. In this case, I picked Clifton, so that's the character I'm going to play as. On his card, it says he has 8 hit points and he's the blue player. So I'm going to take this little blue pawn. I'm going to take Clifton's HP card, which is easy to spot because his name is written on the back of it, and then I'm going to take this little red HP marker to indicate how many hit points I currently have. Then, going clockwise around the table, every other player is going to do the same thing. They're going to pick their player card randomly, then they're going to take their HP card, a red HP marker, and their little colored pawn. In addition, because I rolled first, I also get the first to land token. This means that I'm going to be the player that sets up the level, I'm the first to land, and I'm the first to move. Speaking of which, let's set up that level. Wait, hold on. I forgot one detail. At the start of the game, each player gets to start with 2 scroll cards. This is the only time that players are just going to be given scroll cards. For the rest of the game, any other scrolls are going to have to be found throughout the tomb, but at least to start with, each player gets 2. Okay, so this is the game set up and ready to play for 4 players. You've got scrolls, treasures, traps, and monsters up here at the top of the board. You've got 50 yellow tokens down there in the treasury at the bottom of the board. You've got the level indicator placed at level 1. You've got Baldrich's talisman waiting for players in level 4, which I'll explain in a little while. And you've got the round indicator placed at round 1. Now, this large gray square here in the middle represents 1 level in Baldrich's Tomb, and this is where players are going to be spending most of their time. The idea behind this game is that this tomb has been rocked from the inside out, just a tornado on the inside, and as a result, everything's in shambles. And in order to explore, players are going to have to turn over stones that are going to be randomly placed and find out what's underneath. Players want to find treasures and scrolls along the way, but ultimately what players want to find is... let me find it here, is the exit. The exit is how players leave the level and go to the next one and the next one, down to the bottom, and then all the way back out again. So, with that, let me go ahead and turn these over. No, wait, I want to turn them over the other way. And randomize them. Just scatter them. Mix them up like that, and then stack them on top of each other. Now, in the beginning of the video, I mentioned that whoever rolled highest got the first to land token. They're also going to set up the level. In order to do this, they're simply going to take these 11 tokens and place them randomly on the board. Personally, I always like to put 1 stone in each corner, just to spread things out and make them harder for players to reach. But wherever the player wants to place the stones is acceptable, so long as no 2 stones are directly adjacent to each other. They need to have at least 1 space in between them. So okay, now that the stones are set up, the last thing we need to do before we can start the level is figure out where each player is going to land. Again, since the place is in shambles, the idea is that players fall onto each level and they land randomly. So let's figure out where. Starting with the first player, we're going to roll the d8s. That rolled a 4, that rolled a 5, so that's 45. So the player's going to land on this square marked 45. That's this one. He landed on a stone immediately. Then the second player, they rolled a 7 and a 7, so they're going to start the level on the square marked 77. Then third player rolls a 4 and a 2. They're going to start the level on the square marked 42. And then finally the last player rolled a 6 and a 4. They're going to start the level on the square marked 64. Okay, so now everyone's in place. We can go ahead and begin the level.